All right, let's get into a specific sales order here. And of course, we're going to take this all the way from the order processing, like we said, through the shipment, create the invoice, and we'll even show you how a customer can pay this online. But this is the anatomy of a screen right here with my sales order. You're always going to have your header on top. You may think of that as your summary section, and then details down on the bottom. You can see that first tab is named details, and there's a whole bunch of other tabs down here on the bottom as well. But before I go too far, I do want to point out, Christine mentioned this, that I am using 2025 Release 1 of Acumatica. And this is the modern UI. So if this is not your first time seeing Acumatica, this might look a little different than it looked to you in the past. And that's because I am showing off the new user interface that's going to be available this year. And as part of that new interface, I have the ability here, because I am logged in as an admin of the system, that I can come in and configure my screen if I needed to. So if I wanted to get rid of some columns or get rid of some fields, move some things around, then I can click on my screen configuration here. You see these sections that show me the different day data that's available here on the top. Maybe if I want to come into this section right here, and let's just say I do not need to see freight. Notice I've got a little eyeball right here. I can click that, make it non-visible, invisible, is that a better word? And it goes away. And so that's just the way I've configured the system today. Of course, I can always reset to default and change it back to where I was. But the point is that you can manipulate the screen, move some fields around, get rid of some fields, add fields, and I don't even have to be a developer to do that. And that's what the modern UI is giving us. All right, with that being said, let me just move on to some functionality here. This is my order type field. And the reason why I'm really focused on my order type is you can see I have a whole bunch of different types of orders in the system. Most of these can be, a couple of these would come pre-configured in your system, but you also have the ability to create your own and define the flow as it goes from an order to a shipment to an invoice, or skipping items in between. For example, if it's a cash sale, you don't need to process the shipment. You processed it over the counter, perhaps. Here's a counter sale. Or maybe we just need to create an invoice because somebody showed up with their truck, we loaded it on the truck, and then we just need to send an invoice. So you configure the different types of orders, including a blanket order here, just to give you an example. We've got returns and transfers. Those are what we're going to use in the system, and in my demo system, that you can also configure in your system. All right, so I'm going to use a basic sales order, which is, again, you want to start with an order, then we're going to go to a shipment, finish off with an invoice, and we're going to look at payments as well. Here on my customer field, as I start making my keystrokes, the system is narrowing down, looking for those IDs and the name that matches those keystrokes. So you can think of that as predictive text. And then now I'm ready to put the details into the body of my sales order. Now I've got a lot of different ways to do that. And I'm just going to save this, make sure I keep the header portion up here on top. But first off, let's just focus here on these few item buttons right here on the bottom. And the first one is I can add items. And what this is doing is it's just looking at items that we've sold this customer in the past. How recent, like you can see here, we're looking at every item where I can say, oh, I only want to look at the items we've sold this customer since a particular date. So just helping you with your data entry. And then you can make those choices. I'm going to choose one of these, and I'm going to do the wholesale warehouse. Let me go to that wholesale warehouse right here, and then I can just add and close. So again, it's helping me with my data entry. And you can see down here on the bottom with that computer highlighted that I do have a few on hand, 336. They're also available, meaning they're not committed. So that's one way to get items into the system. Another one is this add matrix items. And the matrix items are, think of those as items that have attributes that have shared properties. And so if I have a t-shirt, for example, then I have maybe items that are different sizes, also different colors. I can have different logos. While this one only has 2 attributes, I can have as many attributes as I like. And because they're similar, I can just say, well, let me just give me a few of those and some of these, and give me some more of those. And I'm just doing my data entry real quick and say add and close, and it automatically adds those items to my to my detail section in the body of that sales order. There you go. And again, I can look at how many I have on hand. I have 10 of those, 30 of those. So I'm going to go below 0 if I could go too far. Just giving you some ideas again. All right, let me just start over fresh to show you another way we can get data into the system, and that is you can also have it templated, or you can copy transactions from another screen. So if I start again with a brand new transaction here, and notice I have the copy feature. So if I have another sales order, I can copy it, paste it in here. I can also pull from another order that's a template. So it's just saved. And so I'll pull that up. We already know it's for that customer and for these items. Or if I do another brand new sales order, I can also load these records from a file. And so you're going to see this little load records from file button here. Again, different places throughout Acumatica. Click the button, go and find your order. And then when it's ready, you can match up the columns for the items, the quantity. You can see those are already mapped. I wanted to make this a little quicker. And again, it's just pulling that data directly from an Excel spreadsheet. There you go. So just a lot of different ways you can get the data into Acumatica. But I'm going to go with just one item. We're just going to go back to one of the items we had just a moment ago. And that will be my laptop. And again, predictive text. I have 336 of these on hand. Notice the price is defaulting in here as $500. And we're going to sell just one of those right now. So I just wanted you to see that that price is $500. But if I also have price breaks set up in the system. So when I change the quantity to 3, our system is updating to that 475 units. So there you go. All right, so we're ready to go with this order. So I'm going to save this. And so we've locked and loaded this. We're selling this on the 24th. That's the date I'm doing this transaction. And then I'm ready to do a shipment. Now think of the shipment as instructions to the warehouse for when they need to ship it. And so we requested on 425, again, 424. There it is. And so now I'm giving instructions to my wholesale warehouse on the date that they need to sell that or to ship that item. And as that's refreshing, now let's come over here to my dashboard that we still had up on that first tab. Remember the orders to ship was 2. I'm just going to refresh this. You can set that up on a timer so it refreshes automatically, but now I have 3 items to ship. And one of those is the item that we just gave instructions for. So there we go. Our dashboards are getting updated while we're looking at the warehouse manager, the receiving clerk, the shipping clerk. They can have their own dashboards that get updated again accordingly throughout the day. So there's my item I need to ship. Down here on the bottom, we still have 336 on hand. How many have we ordered and how many did we ship? So as we're processing this, we're going to update information, perhaps things like the address. Now that did flow over from the sales order. Shipping, we do need to go out and find some rates for this. So I do have a button here to shop for rates. We already know we're putting those 3 units in a medium-sized box. We don't have to update that, but I could accordingly. But here's a new feature inside of Acumatica. Again, if you've seen demos in the past, this may be new to you. If this is your first time, welcome. But we do have a capture weight from a scale, and that is brand new with version 25R1. But the shop for rates is not new, but I can just click the button, go out and look through our vendors that are related to this transaction. This is a FedEx ground that I'm going to choose, $42.11. Might be a little delayed in my demo system here, but there we go. That's the idea. And again, back over here on the packages tab, you'll see that we have everything up to date. Now, as I'm going through and confirming this shipment, I can, again, this will be the part that updates our inventory. We're relieving the inventory of those 3 units. And like we said before, we're pulling data down from UPS or FedEx, whichever. There's my tracking number related to that transaction. And if I come back over here to my attachments, you'll see that the little paper clip here is letting us know that we have a document. Here's the label I can put on the box. And every transaction screen inside of Acumatica, as well as pretty much every line, you're always going to have those little paper clips and notes. If you need to add more information, there's my note field at the top of the transaction. There's my files at the top, and I can even do activities as I process. And then finally, we have the prepare invoice. So we did the order, we did the shipment, and now we're going to prepare invoice. Think of this as transitioning over to our finance roles. This could be an automated process that runs automatically to say after confirmation, automatically create the invoice. And so all the information related to the transaction is here. And if I scroll over, you'll see I have a large number of columns. You can, again, trim this down to whatever you need. And there's my 1425 right here on the extended price. You see up here on the header section, the freight total. I can send this through an approval workflow. I can add lines. If there's more fees that we need to add, I can click the plus, add this to the invoice, or I can go forward, release this transaction. And one of the things that's going to happen automatically with this invoice, again, focusing up here on where it's executing, right behind that little operation, you'll see that I have an activity. And there it is, number 1. And so when I clicked on the invoice, this automatically sent an email to my customer with the invoice, including a payment link that they can click on. And there's the link right here. Or if we want to see what that looks like printed to the screen, I'm printing that invoice now. It's a PDF file, and that's what they would have received. These files already have an attached QR code, as well as a link that they can click on electronically. And when they click on that link, it can take them over to a payment screen. We call this our Acumatica payments. And they can view that transaction, and notice right here, they can pay via credit card or ACH. Click the Pay Now button, enter their credit card information, or if they're paying with EFT, we can finish it off that way. So in summary, what you've seen so far is we saw the order get entered, we created the shipment, which we then moved over into an invoice, and ultimately we showed how they can pay their invoices. So think of that like a little portal environment there as well. And then back over here on my warehouse manager, if I refresh that item again, notice that orders to ship has dropped from 3 to 2. So we saw the information flow through the system.